The quiet night in Warner Robins, Georgia, shattered like glass under a boot. It was February 3, 2024, around 8 p.m., when Michaela Jean Chaney, a 23-year-old rising star with dreams bigger than the Peach County skies, heard a knock at her door. She opened it, expecting maybe a friend or a delivery, anything but the storm that was about to rage inside her Pacific Park apartment. What started as a confrontation over a few innocent text messages exploded into unimaginable violence. A single gunshot to the head, the life of a young woman who lit up rooms with her smile and spirit, snuffed out in an instant. Her body, wrapped in a sheet like discarded trash, dumped in the woods off Russell Parkway. Her beloved dog, Milo, silenced forever. And her killer? Her ex-boyfriend, Javion Jermaine Bivens, scrambling to erase every trace, from bleach on the floors to the Ring camera yanked from the wall. Have you ever wondered how jealousy can turn someone you love into a monster? According to the National Domestic Violence Hotline, 1 in 4 women will experience severe physical violence from an intimate partner in their lifetime, and in cases like this, it often starts with something as simple as a text message. Michaela's story isn't just a tragedy, it's a wake-up call about the hidden dangers lurking behind breakups and possessiveness. What drove Javion to stalk her, shoot her, and try to cover it all up? And how did a swift investigation bring him down before he could slip away? This tale of rage and reckoning will leave you questioning the red flags in your own life. If stories like this hit close to home, hit that subscribe button now. We're diving deep into the heartbreak of Michaela's final hours, and you won't want to miss the justice that followed. Let's get into it. Michaela Jean Chaney, known to her family and friends as Angel, was the kind of person who made the world feel a little brighter, a little warmer. Born on March 21, 2000, in the heart of Warner Robins, Georgia, a city of about 80,000 nestled near the sprawling Robins Air Force Base, Michaela grew up in Houston County's close-knit communities, where Southern hospitality meets the hum of military life. Warner Robins, with its mix of everyday folks, veterans, and small-town charm, shaped her into a resilient young woman who dreamed big despite the challenges around her. From the start, Michaela was surrounded by love in a blended family that emphasized faith, perseverance, and unbreakable bonds. Her mother, Tamika L. Chaney, a dedicated resident of nearby Byron, Georgia, worked tirelessly to provide stability and nurture her daughter's spirit. Tamika was the rock, the one who instilled in Michaela the value of hard work and kindness. Her father, Michael D. Cox, from Fort Valley, offered guidance from afar, proud of the daughter who carried his strength. On her maternal side, Michaela's grandmother, Betty J. Hayes, and great-grandmother, Johnny M. Chaney from Macon, were true pillars. Women of wisdom who taught her resilience through stories of their own triumphs over hardship. Paternally, her grandmother Sybil Miller Cox, great-grandmother Annie Rumpf Miller from Fort Valley, and grandfather Larry J. Cox Sr. from Byron added layers of family pride, creating a network that felt like a safety net. Michaela's siblings were her built-in cheer squad, sister Kwajalein Stewart, brothers Michael Harvey and Messiah Furlow, and a sprawling circle of aunts, uncles, and cousins who treated her like the heart of the family. Cousins like Taniqua McDonald and Damian L. Smith Jr. shared laughs and secrets, turning relatives into an extended sisterhood and brotherhood. And then there was Milo, her furry companion, a loyal dog who brought joy to her daily life, often posing in photos as the embodiment of her nurturing soul. Family gatherings in Byron or Fort Valley were filled with her infectious laughter, where she'd whip up playlists of her favorite R&B and hip-hop tracks, getting everyone dancing. Growing up in Middle Georgia wasn't always easy. Houston County faces its share of economic strains and social issues, but Michaela thrived. She attended local schools, blossoming into a standout student athlete at Peach County High School in Fort Valley, about 30 miles from home. Graduating in 2018 on the prestigious A. honor roll, she proved her academic smarts alongside her athletic prowess. As a member of the varsity cheer squad, Michaela was a force, flipping, tumbling, and cheering with an energy that electrified the field. Teammates and fans adored her. She wasn't just a performer, she was the spark that turned games into memories. Classmates recall her as the girl with the quick wit and warm smile, the one who'd turn a bad day around with a joke or a hug. "She was always there for you," one friend later shared, her voice cracking with grief. After high school, Michaela struck out on her own in Warner Robins, living independently at the Pacific Park Apartments, a symbol of her determination to build her future. She channeled her creativity into makeup artistry, a talent that lit up friends' faces at events and parties. Whether doing bold looks for a night out or subtle enhancements for everyday glow, Michaela's skills were in demand, and she dreamed of turning it into something bigger, perhaps her own beauty line. Music was her other passion. Though not a professional musician, she was a rising talent in her circle, curating killer playlists that captured her vibrant spirit. She'd share snippets on social media, dancing in her apartment to artists like SZA or Megan Thee Stallion, her moves full of joy and rhythm. It was her way of expressing the fire inside, a creative outlet that hinted at bigger ambitions. Professionally, she worked service-oriented jobs, balancing shifts with her artistic pursuits and helping others, always with that bubbly, kind-hearted demeanor. At 23, Michaela was on the cusp of everything. Friends described her as generous with her creativity, someone whose presence made rooms brighter. Her obituary would later capture it perfectly, a young woman who shared her light freely, leaving behind a legacy of love. But as she navigated young adulthood, relationships became the shadow over her sunshine. Little did she know, one in particular would eclipse it all. In the sun-soaked streets of Warner Robins, where high school sweethearts often turn into lifelong partners, Michaela crossed paths with Javion Jermaine Bivens. At 24, Javion was a local guy, born around 2000, growing up in the same community fabric as Michaela. Charismatic and outgoing, he had that easy southern charm that drew people in. Acquaintances remember him as someone who could light up a conversation. Details of his early life are sparse, but he shared roots in Houston County, perhaps crossing paths with Michaela through mutual friends or local spots like the parks or hangouts near Robins Air Force Base. They met sometime before 2023, likely through social circles in Warner Robins, a chance encounter at a party, a shared event, or even online via Instagram, where young folks in Middle Georgia connect. What started as casual flirtation quickly blossomed into a relationship that seemed promising. Javion and Michaela shared laughs, dreams, and those early moments of excitement that make love feel like a fairy tale. He'd show up with small gestures, a drive to a local diner, playlists tailored to her tastes, or just hanging out with Milo, her dog, to win her over. For a while, it was the honeymoon phase, dates under Georgia stars, shared photos on social media of them smiling at Peach County spots, her cheerleader energy matching his charisma. Michaela, fresh from high school and building her independence, saw potential in him, a partner who understood her world. But even in those shiny early days, subtle red flags flickered like warning lights on a humid night. Javion was possessive from the start, his compliments laced with questions about her guy friends or why she was out late. Acquaintances later noted his intensity, how he'd check her phone, just joking, or get quiet if she mentioned work crushes. Social media played a role too, he'd like every post but comment protectively, marking his territory. Lavish gestures. Not extravagant like jets, but thoughtful ones, a new makeup brush set after a long day, or tickets to a local concert where they'd dance to her favorite tracks. Michaela, bubbly and forgiving, brushed it off as passion, mistaking control for care. Friends saw the chemistry but whispered about his jealousy, especially as Michaela's makeup gigs and music shares gained traction among locals. The relationship deepened, with Javion integrating into her life, meeting family at Byron gatherings, walking Milo together. It felt real, supportive even, as Michaela pursued her artistry. But beneath the surface, Javion's possessiveness simmered. He didn't like her independence, her cheerleader pass-drawing eyes, or her growing circle post-high school. Modern tech amplified it, tracking apps suggested, for safety, texts demanding check-ins. What seemed romantic masked the storm brewing. By late 2023, cracks appeared, leading to their breakup, a decision Michaela made to reclaim her space. Little did she know, Javion wasn't ready to let go. Breakups are hard, but for Michaela, it marked the beginning of a nightmare. After splitting with Javion in early 2024, she focused on healing, hanging with siblings, perfecting her makeup looks, curating playlists that screamed empowerment. But Javion couldn't move on. Prosecutors later described his behavior as stalking type, a classic escalation in possessive relationships. He'd show up unannounced at her Pacific Park apartment, texting late at night, "Who are you with?" or "I saw you like that guy's post." Friends noticed the shift. Michaela's once constant group chats grew quieter, her smiles at family events a bit forced. She seemed on edge, one cousin recalled, always checking her phone like it might bite her. This was the abuse cycle in motion, a pattern experts like those from the National Coalition Against Domestic Violence recognize all too well: tension building, explosion, then reconciliation, or in this case, post-breakup obsession. It starts subtly, jealousy disguised as concern. Javion questioned her male friends from cheer days, her service job interactions, even her time with Milo. Isolation crept in. He'd guilt her for seeing Kwajalein or Taniqua, saying they were jealous of their past. Psychological toll. Michaela began second-guessing outfits before makeup gigs, avoiding posts that might set him off. Family, like Tamika, sensed it but respected her privacy. Hindsight revealed the signs: cancelled plans, vague excuses. Physical hints emerged too, though no prior reports surfaced. Bruises hidden under makeup, stories of arguments that left her drained. Experts explain this as the power and control wheel. Javion used intimidation to keep her tethered, his charisma flipping to rage over imagined slights. After the breakup, it intensified. No more honeymoon apologies, just relentless monitoring. He'd drive by her apartment, lurk in Warner Robins spots she frequented. Social media fueled it, seeing her dance videos or flirty comments from others. Trigger points. Michaela confided in close ones, like Damien or Michael, about feeling watched, but downplayed it: "He's just hurt." Her bubbly spirit dimmed, friends observed her withdrawing, playlists shifting from upbeat to melancholic. The cycle peaked with stalking, calls from unknown numbers, showing up at work. Tamika later shared in interviews how subtle possessiveness, once romantic, turned toxic. "He made her feel like she owed him," she said. Domestic violence stats back this. 50% of homicides against women are by intimate partners, often post-separation when control slips. Michaela's changes were telling: less cheer and family calls, Milo her only constant comfort. By February 3, the tension boiled over. Those text messages with another man? The spark in a powder keg Javion had been filling for months. February 3, 2024, started like any Saturday in Warner Robins, cool Georgia air, Michaela home alone with Milo, perhaps practicing a new makeup tutorial or scrolling playlists. Around 8 p.m., Javion arrived uninvited, fueled by texts he'd seen on her phone during an earlier visit or through snooping. The confrontation was swift and brutal. According to trial evidence, he grabbed her firearm from her purse amid the argument over the messages. A struggle broke out, furniture overturned, blood traces on the floor from defensive wounds. In a flash of rage, Javion fired once, the bullet striking Michaela in the head. She collapsed, her life ended at 23, in the place she called home. What came next chilled investigators: a calculated cover-up. Javion wrapped her body in a sheet and comforter, stuffing it into the trunk of her car like it was nothing. He killed Milo too, shot or strangled, details murky but confirmed as animal cruelty, eliminating any witness. Back in the apartment, he went to work, bleach scrubbing blood from floors and walls, shell casings collected, the Ring doorbell camera ripped out and discarded to kill footage. It was methodical, a man buying time. Around 8:24 a.m. on February 4, he drove her car to a wooded area off Russell Parkway, behind a self-storage facility, abandoning it in the brush. He walked home, trying to act normal, texting friends, maybe grabbing coffee, but the facade cracked fast. Tamika, Michaela's mom, knew something was wrong. No answer to calls or texts by morning, unusual for her angel. At 9:20 a.m., she reported her missing to Warner Robins police. Officers traced the abandoned car to Michaela via plates, finding her body inside during a search. The trunk's grim discovery, body decomposed slightly from the night, confirmed homicide. Back at the apartment, signs screamed foul play, disarray, bleach smell, blood spatter under scrutiny, no Milo. Neighbors heard a pop around 8 p.m. but thought fireworks. Initial interviews zeroed in on Javion. He feigned worry, "Have you seen her?" But inconsistencies piled up, scratches on his hands, knowledge of her routine. Forensics from the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, GBI, sealed it, DNA on the sheet matching him, bleach residue, ballistics tying the gun to Michaela's. The discarded camera. Found nearby, wiped but recoverable. By afternoon February 4th, Javion was arrested at his Warner Robins home, charged with murder, aggravated assault, firearm possession during a crime, concealing a death, burglary, tampering with evidence, and theft. The swift response, under 24 hours, owed to Tamika's instincts and sharp police work, like Detective Carmen Thompson's interviews. The community reeled, #Justice for Michaela trended locally, friends mourning the cheerleader who'd just been building her dreams. Javion Bivens' trial in Houston County Superior Court, April 2025, was a reckoning 4 days of unflinching truth. Charged with malice, murder and more, he pleaded not guilty, his defense claiming heat of passion over the texts. But prosecutors, led by District Attorney Eric Z. Edwards, dismantled that. Evidence mounted, forensic reports showing close-range shot premeditation, witness accounts of his stalking, Tamika's tearful testimony on the missing calls. "She was my heartbeat," Tamika said, detailing the grief. Jurors saw photos, redacted for media, of the scene, heard how he hid Milo too. Chief Assistant DA Greg Winters hammered the motive: no one should feel unsafe in their own home. Deliberation. Just 20 minutes. On April 18, 2025, guilty on all counts, malice murder, felony murder, aggravated assault, concealing a death, burglary, 2 tampering charges, theft by taking, firearm possession. The next day, Judge George M. Piegler Jr. sentenced him to life without parole, plus 20 consecutive years, a slam dunk for justice. Bivens showed no remorse, head down as Tamika confronted him, "You took my daughter." No appeals as of September 2025, he's in Georgia Diagnostic Prison. Michaela's legacy. Transformative. Her death spotlighted domestic violence in Georgia, where 2024 saw over 100 intimate partner homicides. Warner Robins PD now trains on stalking signs, GBI partners with advocates. Tamika became a voice, speaking at vigils, "Use my pain to educate young women, no mother should feel this." A purple balloon release at North Peach Park honored her cheer days, raising funds via GoFundMe for family. Classmates, cousins like Anisha Cox Pitts, keep her memory alive through anti-violence drives. Experts cited as a model case, quick arrests save lives. Michaela's story, from cheerleader to cautionary tale, pushes policy, like better ring camera protocols and post-breakup resources. Her light endures, saving others from shadows. Michaela Jean Chaney should be 25 now, turning heads with her makeup magic, dancing to her playlists, Milo by her side. Instead, jealousy stole her future, but her story screams lessons: trust your gut on possessiveness, texts aren't worth dying over, breakups aren't ownership. Love doesn't stalk or control, it lifts. If you're in a toxic spot, speak up, friends, family, hotlines can help. Honor Michaela, share this video, comment your thoughts, what's a red flag you've spotted, or how can we end DV? Like if justice matters, subscribe for more true crime that educates. Resources: National Domestic Violence Hotline 1-800-799-7233, SAFE, Georgia Coalition Against Domestic Violence at gcadv.org. Tamika fights on, let's amplify her voice. Michaela's angel wings watch over, may her memory spark change. Thanks for watching.